children, welcome to today's science class of grade 4, lesson 6, conservation of soil. Soil is formed by breaking of rocks into little pieces. Yes, you have seen the soil, right? Yes, rocks get heated by the sun and rocks are very cool in the night. So this repeated heating and cooling leads them to crack open. And then this is how they crack open into smaller ones. So water pushes them against one another and this breaks down into still more tiny pieces. Yes. So these tiny pieces of rock are transported to the other far off places by water and wind. So slowly they become powder and then this is called as soil. So which was once a rock. Okay. So remains of the dead animals and plants, they decay and they mix with the soil and they form humus, right? They make the soil fertile. Now let us discuss why soil is needed. Soil is needed for growing the plants. Plants depend on soil for minerals and waters. Yes, you see the plants, where do they grow? They grow from the soil. Now for building our homes and schools, we need soil, and then for making bricks, toys, pictures which are used for storing or drinking water, you know, the matka. Yes, we need soil for all these purposes. Now let us look into the layers of the soil. Look in your reader, children, carefully, the different layers of soil. The soil is of different layers and different colors. So the topmost soil is called the topsoil. And it is only a few inches thick and it is dark in color. So it is soft and loose. As it is loose, this contains water for the plants. So this layer is chiefly made up of loam and humus. So this is fertile part of the soil and this is a part where plants grow. Yes. Now let us see the next layer called the subsoil. This layer below the top soil is called the subsoil. It is hard but grey or red in color. It is made up of sand and pebbles and it does not contain enough food and water and air for the plants. So only the trees and plants which have long roots, they get deep into this layer. Now coming to the next layer, the rock. Below the subsoil there are rocks. It has two layers. The upper layer has stones which are soft and porous and there are a lot of air spaces between the rocks. So it allows water to pass through. The lower layer is non-porous. It is called the bedrock. Water that passes through this soil, it collects at the bedrock. Now let us discuss an important concept called soil erosion. So the top soil which is loose and fertile, it does not remain stationary. That means it does not remain in one place. It is always exposed to the forces of wind and water. So there is rain, there is wind. So the action of the sun, wind, rain, rivers, ocean currents, they carry away the top layer of the soil and reduce the fertility of the soil. So the subsoil is also disturbed. So this process of wearing and carrying away of the soil by natural forces is called as erosion. There are three main causes of soil erosion. First thing is by the wind. So the wind damages the soil. So when the wind is blown strongly, the good part of the soil is carried away. We also have an experiment as you see in your reader. So you can put some loose soil, and place it before a table fan. So as soon as you switch on the fan, the air which is coming from the fan will carry away some of the soil which is present. Thus air causes soil erosion. Next comes the water. So the rainwater and the rivers, they wash away the soil and deposit it in the other places as they flow along, right? So the river as it flows down, it washes away mud, particles and the other minerals slowly and deposits them into plains. So the soil deposited by the rivers are called as silt. So it is very rich and fertile. Yes, you have studied, right, life in northern plains. So the soil is brought here by the rivers. So Chipko movement was started in 1970 to stop cutting of trees. Here everyone hugged the trees, and when they came to cut the tree, they did not allow them to cut the tree. Hence the name came the Chipko movement. Now let us look at the soil erosion by man. Cutting of forest or deforestation and grazing of grasslands by cattle make the soil bare. Okay, so this is one of the major causes of soil erosion. So when the trees are cut, the soil becomes loose and easily gets carried away. Now let us look at how can we conserve this important resource, soil. So this part is called as soil conservation. So the top soil, which is the most fertile and which is the most suitable for growth of plants, this has to be conserved. So the plant gets the food from this very layer. So the protection of the top soil from erosion is called as soil conservation. There are different methods with which we do this. First thing is by growing grass. So if the land is not being used for farming, it is good to grow grass. So what happens? So grass is a plant with spreading roots. So this covers the topsoil and holds it down when the wind is coming, and hence the soil does not get carried away. So one of the methods is by growing grass. Now let us look at the other method, by growing trees or afforestation. Deforestation was what? Cutting out the trees, whereas afforestation means planting more and more of trees. So when rows of trees are planted, their long roots, they hold the soil together. Yes, this is a good method of soil conservation. Now let us look at the third method, by terrace farming. You can see the picture in your reader. So the flow of rainwater is very rapid on hill slopes. So when you go to hilly areas, when the rain comes, the rain is like just flowing away on the slopes. So such water washes away the top soil, obviously, because the soil is like this. When the water is flowing, the water is taking away the soil along with it. So to prevent such loss, the slopes are cut into terraces, right? They are cut like this. Okay, so farming on such slopes is called as terrace farming. So when it is cut like this, the water can't easily take away the soil along with it. So this is the terrace farming. By construction of dams and embankments. So as you can see in the picture, so the rivers wash away a great amount of topsoil during the floods. So dams and embankments, when they are constructed, they are useful in checking the soil erosion. So the embankments are nothing but walls of rocks and stone present in the bank of river. So they can just be placed in the river so that the water can flow, but the soil, it cannot wash away the soil. The soil, it will stop it there. Water, it will let it flow. Now let us come to plants and animals helping the soil. So if we look at the soil in the garden, we will find variety of living organisms, right? Small animals like ants, millipedes, centipedes, scorpions, beetles, earthworms, they feed on organic matter. Now these animals make the soil loose because they are moving inside the soil. The soil is loose in nature. So they feed on organic matter which is present in the soil. They break down the waste matter in simple forms, right? So there is a dead insect there. So these organisms, they slowly eat that dead insect and slowly they decay and they make that complex organism into simple form. So the waste of these animals also make the soil very much fertile. Among these animals, earthworms is called the farmer's friend. Yes, so farmers, they use the earthworms in their field so that they can their movement in the soil helps to soil to loosen, and they also provide the soil with nutrients, and it also mixes the topsoil with the subsoil. The earthworms, they mix the topsoil with the subsoil and they make the soil rich. Its waste, that is the waste products which come out of the earthworm, are also responsible to make the soil rich. So this was about the soil conservation, children. Read the chapter thoroughly once again and complete the exercises given. The fill in the blanks, choose the right answer, the question answers, children. So this was about the chapter conservation of our soil. Thank you.